The moon hung low over the crooked rooftops of Thorn Hollow, casting pale silver light on streets long forgotten. Windows rattled in the wind, and shutters banged like warning drums. The town had no humans now, only echoes of footsteps and the occasional flicker of candlelight in houses that should have been empty. It was in this ghost of a town that a black cat walked alone. His name was Midnight. He was sleek, with fur that drank the light, and eyes like glowing green lanterns. Around his neck hung a collar, worn, weathered, and too tight. Its leather was blackened with age, the silver buckle etched with ancient symbols no one remembered. It made no sound when he moved, but it pulsed faintly in the dark, as though alive. The collar had once been a gift. Now, it was a curse. Midnight padded through Thorn Hollow Central Square, passing the fountain that no longer flowed. Moss grew in the stone cracks. Statues of people and pets stood frozen, their faces worn smooth by time and wind. Somewhere behind the library ruins, an owl hooted, but Midnight didn't flinch. He had heard worse. For years, he had searched for a way to break the spell bound to the collar around his neck. Every new moon, the same thing happened. The collar would tighten, his vision would blur, and for 1 hour, he would vanish from this world, pulled into a shadow realm where whispers clawed at his mind and ghostly forms drifted through darkness like smoke. No one else could see it. No one else believed it. No one else had survived it. But tonight, something had changed. The air was heavier, the silence sharper, and in his dreams, the voices had grown louder. One word echoed again and again: return. Midnight followed the whisper through winding alleyways, until he came upon the old Gravemere Chapel, a collapsed cathedral on the edge of town, buried in ivy and shadow. Its bell tower stood like a broken tooth, reaching toward the stars. He stopped at the gate. The collar buzzed. He took one step forward. The gate creaked open on its own. Inside the chapel, the floor was cracked and sunken. Moss carpeted the pews, and shattered stained glass littered the aisles. In the center of the room stood a pedestal, one that hadn't been there before. On it sat a mirror. Not a clean one. It was spiderwebbed with cracks, black around the edges. Midnight saw himself reflected in it, but not just as he was. In the mirror, he looked older, worn. His eyes were tired. The collar around his neck glowed bright red, and shadowy claws wrapped around his paws. He turned away, but his reflection did not. Instead, it opened its mouth and whispered, "You left us." Midnight's fur bristled. The collar burned against his neck. "Who are you?" he asked aloud. From the dark corners of the chapel, voices answered. Hundreds of them. A chorus of meows, yowls, hisses, and beneath it all, sobs. "We were the others," the voices said. "You were the first." The chapel twisted. The walls pulsed. Midnight crouched low, teeth bared. "I didn't ask for this," he growled. "You were chosen." The mirror darkened, swallowing his reflection. In its place appeared a vision, memories, flashing like firelight in fog. A small black kitten, playing in a sunlit yard. A girl laughing. A hand placing the collar around his neck. A whispered chant. A sudden, sharp cry. Then, silence. Midnight gasped. He remembered now. He had been part of something. A ritual. The girl had not been a child but a young witch, orphaned and lonely. She had loved him, and wanted to keep him safe. But the spell had been wrong. It had bound his spirit to the collar. When she disappeared, the magic fractured. And with it, his peace. Every cat that had come close since then, every feline friend who tried to comfort or help, had been pulled into the curse. Into the realm beyond. Trapped. The voices in the chapel were theirs. "You must release us," they whispered. Midnight backed away. I can't." "You must return." The mirror shattered, and the chapel faded into black. He awoke under a rusted train car near the edge of town. His breath came fast, and the collar was tight again. Tighter than ever. He couldn't breathe. Panic rose. His claws tore at the ground. Around him, shadows twitched and danced, even though there was no light to cast them. Then, movement. From beneath the train car, two small eyes stared at him. A kitten. Grey, small, and shaking. Are you him?" she whispered. Midnight blinked. "What?" "The cursed one. With the collar. I've heard the stories." He looked away. Leave me. But the kitten didn't run. My name is Penny, she said. I came to find you. Why? Because I think I know how to end it. Midnight turned, stunned. You? She nodded. My grandmother was a witch. She said only the one who wears the collar can break the bond, but only if they enter the other side willingly. Willingly, he echoed. Why would I do that? To free them, Penny said. And yourself. That night, the two cats returned to the chapel ruins. Midnight felt the air grow colder as they approached. The collar hummed, almost vibrating with anticipation. Are you ready? Penny asked. Midnight looked at her, this tiny cat who had found him through stories alone. He thought of the girl, the mirror, and the weight of years spent alone. He nodded. Then step into the mirror. The frame, though shattered, still stood. Midnight approached it. As he did, the shards of glass reformed, melting together into a black pool. He touched it. The world flipped inside out. The realm beyond was not made of color or light. It was made of memory. Midnight floated in a grey void where paw prints glowed briefly on the ground before fading. Shapes moved in the distance. Cats. Dozens. Maybe hundreds. Their forms were soft, flickering like candlelight in wind. They gathered around him. You've returned, they whispered. I'm sorry, he said. Then let us go. Midnight felt the collar pulse. He touched it. For a moment, everything stopped. He saw the girl, her face full of sorrow, her hands weaving the spell, the tears in her eyes when it all went wrong. I forgive you, he whispered. And with those words, the collar split open. A burst of white light swept the realm. The shadows screamed, then fell silent. One by one, the trapped souls faded, free. Midnight awoke in the real world, lying in the chapel's garden. Birds chirped. Morning light shone through the trees. The collar lay beside him in the grass, cracked, powerless. Penny sat nearby, watching. Did it work? She asked. Midnight stood slowly. He felt lighter. Whole. Yes, he said. They're gone. Penny smiled. You should stay in Thorn Hollow, she said. Midnight looked toward the rising sun. For the first time in decades, he felt warmth that didn't bite. Maybe I will.